Good evening and welcome to the National Sim Racing Sony HD 500 here at the Auto Club Speedway. We got a field of 15 cars here for tonight's 125 lap tilt at the 2-mile long Auto Club Speedway. Drivers just starting to get ready to put in their very important qualifying laps. As we'll take a look at Tony Kurgel in the 13 car, sporting a new paint this weekend. A very nice looking O'Reilly number 13, and he was the fastest in practice by a pretty good margin, by a couple of tenths. When everything was all said and done for practice, so safe to say that the driver of this 13 car has it dialed in. And here at Auto Club, there's a variety of lines that you can run for speed. So we're going to see what Tony Kurgel does on his first lap. Looks like he's going to be running the bottom. We might see people, we're definitely going to see people migrating from bottom to top depending on the grip level and whether they're trying to make it pass or not. But Auto Club, one of the few tracks where you can really run any line here and make it work. Looks like right now the bottom lane is going to be the fast way for qualifying, as Tony Kurgel going to cross the stripe. Let's see what time that he sets with a 39.42 as his car blew up across the line. A little bit too short across the line because it blew up about 100 feet too soon. So that might cost him a tenth or so. But currently the fastest by about 7 tenths right now, as we look at the one car of Ray Partridge getting his laps in. Or at the very least, he's getting the car warmed up for his flying lap. Don't know if the first or the second lap is going to be faster here, considering that this is an open setup series here in National Sim Racing. You see how sideways that one car got on exit. It's going to scrub off some speed. Let's see what time he sets when he crosses the stripe. 39.813 for Ray Partridge as he starts his flying lap. Running closer to the middle here. And not really going to the bottom. That car really squirrely on exit. But he's still setting a very good time right now. Or on pace to set a good time. As he enters turn 3 all the way on the bottom. Going to track out to the wall. That car trying its best to step out on him. But when he crosses the line, let's see what time that he sets. 39.749 for Ray Partridge. As Brian Wiggins has taken the pole thus far in the qualifying with a 39.342. He's running all the way near the wall. And oh, that car blows up. It's overheated. He put too much tape on it. He's not going to get that qualifying run done. As we look at Mark Sikochi, who was embroiled in controversy last week after a controversial pit road call at Darlington allowed him to get a little bit of extra fuel in the tank to win. That was rescinded, and the win was given to the 94 of Nicholas Pressey. Sikochi looking for redemption here at Auto Club. Coming to the stripe. Let's see what time he will set. He's already set at 39.753 as his fast lap. Across the stripe, 40 flat for the 8 car. So 39.753 will be the time that goes up on the boards for him. That's good enough for 7th. And nobody else doing qualifying right now. So that should wrap things up more or less. But here at Auto Club, no matter how many cars you have, the racing is going to be very good here So looking forward to a very interesting race. And we have the pole sitter of Brian W. Wiggins starting on the front row. I'm used to seeing someone like, Nicholas Pressey or Tony Kurgel starting up front, but this time Brian Wiggins nails the qualifying lap to get pole. And let's just go to our panning shot of different drivers throughout this warm-up session as drivers get used to what race conditions might be like. But a little bit of a shout out to our sponsor, IRD Carburetor, or IRD Racing, I apologize. IRD Racing, the king of carburetors, based out of Florida, does all sorts of fuel injection services and carburetor services for racing vehicles. They're mostly specialized in drag cars, but they've also done stuff from road racing to circle track racing and everything in between. So IRD Racing, an industry leader in fuel injection technology and the king of carburetors. So if you want to take your real world racing program to the next level, contact IRD Carburetors and IRD Racing and speak to the king of carburetors. Very thankful to have them on board, making broadcasts like this possible and allowing me to broadcast this very fun to watch league. As there's not many open setup Gen 4 leagues. There's a lot of Gen 4 leagues, but not a lot of them are open setup like National Sim Racing is. So that adds an extra layer of depth to the skill that these drivers have, because they are running some bad fast setups, and that's most likely completely tailored to their driving styles. As we see, Nicholas Pressey, who I just mentioned, was declared the winner of the Southern 500 at Darlington last weekend after Mark Sikochi was moved to the tail end of the lead lap, making a move on Ray Partridge in warm-ups with just over half of it elapsed right now, but over 2 minutes left. Tony Kurgel still fastest in warm-ups right now, but drivers just trying to get a feel for how their car is going to interact around other cars in a race environment. See Ray Partridge having Lucas Crump to his inside, and this is a great example of the different lines people run. You can see just how much of a run through the center and on exit Ray Partridge is getting, despite Lucas Crump taking the shortest way around. Partridge absolutely clear of Crump down the back straight, but Crump running that bottom lane, going to edge ahead on corner entry and through the center, but the run that Partridge is going to get out of the corners 9 times out of 10 is going to be enough to hold him off. But the issue here is definitely going to be tire conservation. Running the bottom is a lot nicer to your tires, even if you're on an open setup that does a good job at taking care of your tires. You still have to conserve them a little bit, and running the bottom is going to be a sure way to keep those tires happy. Running the top, you're turning a lot more, or you're putting a lot more force onto those tires to keep it off the wall, and definitely accelerates the wear just a little bit. But another driver who's looking fast, at least in warm-ups right now, Adam DeFore in the 5 car, has set the only other lap time in the 39-second bracket, a 39.933 for Adam DeFore. So currently second in warm-ups. So that might be a driver we will have to keep our eyes peeled for. So look at Nicholas Pressey running the bottom here as warm-ups drawing to a conclusion. Oh, big slide for the 94. Hard hit to the inside wall, but good thing that it is it's just warm-ups and it doesn't affect him in the race. But warm-ups drawing to a close here, and with that we can get to your starting lineup for the Sony HD 500 here at Auto Club. So starting on pole, as stated before, is the number 15 of Brian W. Wiggins. And on his outside, starting in second, is going to be the number 13 of Tony Kurgel. Starting in third on the inside of row number 2 is Adam DeFore in the number 5 car. And on his outside is last week's winner, Nicholas Pressey in the number 94. Last car in the top 5 is going to be the number 59 of Justin Cope, and on his outside is the number 1 of Ray Partridge, starting in 6th. In 7th, it is Mark Sikochi looking for redemption in that number 8 car, and on his outside is going to be the 69 of James Young. Jason Crumley starting in at 9th on the inside of row number 5, and on his outside, rounding out your top 10, is going to be the number 88 of John Bittler. Inside of row number 6 is going to be the 56 of Chris Norris. And on his outside is going to be the number 24 of Dylan Lansdell. Inside of row number 7 is going to be the 3 car of Lucas Crump. And on his outside is actually going to be the 49 of Ricky Kim. And rounding out your field of 15 drivers is going to be Angel Rodriguez in the 18 car. Ending your starting lineup here at Auto Club. The sun starting to set here at the virtual Auto Club Speedway, and let's see, can I get a weather report going? Actually, don't think that I have the ability to. But with the sun setting, that's definitely going to change the grip levels here. As, you know, the track is going to get cooler, so there's going to be more grip. So we might see some very close racing here, especially on newer tires. But pace car going to make the hard left turn into pit lane. And it's going to be Brian Wiggins leading the field to the green flag. Pace car is in. And green flag is out for the Sony HD 500 here in National Sim Racing. Tony Kurgel gets about an equal start with Brian Wiggins, but it looks like Wiggins might have missed a shift as he dropped back about 4 or 5 spots on the initial start here. And he's already dropped back to about 6th place. And that's a gift for Tony Kurgel, who just rocketed by on the outside. I don't know what happened to the 15 of Wiggins, but all of that advantage that he got from starting up front now gone with the wind, as he's going to try to make a move on Mark Sikochi for the 5th spot. But he's also got Jason Crumley working on the outside around him, and also he can't clear up to the wall because Ray Partridge is there as well. So it looks like Wiggins going to start sliding back just a little bit. Not an ideal start at all, as Nicholas Pressey and Adam DeFore do in battle for 2nd place. DeFore on the outside, Pressey on the inside. See Justin Cope running the middle, trying to hold off Crumley and Sikochi. But it looks like DeFore able to clear from Pressey for the time being. Sikochi looking to the inside of Justin Cope for the 4th position. Crumley having an early strong run all over the back end of that 59. Gonna run high, gets a little bit loose, gonna lose a lot of momentum. And it looks like Sikochi's gonna get the move made on the 59. Yeah, gonna be able to clear up to that high side. And now Brian Wiggins battling with Jason Crumley That's the 49 of Ricky Kim right behind them as well. You can see Crumley running higher than anyone else, even higher than Ray Partridge in the 1 car on the outside to try to maximize that outside run. Wiggins has only gone backwards since the beginning of this race, and he's soon going to fall victim to Ricky Kim if he doesn't clear him by the exit of this corner. Crumley looking to the inside of Justin Cope as Partridge gets past the 59. Big slide from the 28 of Crumley, and that's going to allow Wiggins and Ricky Kim to swallow him up on both sides. Lucas Crump was looking to the outside of Crumley, but not able to get it done, had to back out of it. And Ray Partridge leading this gaggle of cars. There are 3 wide with Crump, Crumley, and Young for 9th, 10th, and 11th here. Angel Rodriguez and John Bittler kind of watching from behind to assess how to best take advantage of this. Crump and Crumley getting really close to each other in the corner. Big save from John Bittler on the bottom. Good for him to keep it straight. But we saw a little bit of smoke coming off of those tires, so hopefully he didn't overheat them too much. But Lucas Crump now trying to get past the 69 of James Young for the 9th position. But Young able to clear from Crump down this long back straightaway here at Auto Club. Crump going to try the high side to make a move on the 69. Bittler and Angel Rodriguez doing battle for 13 or for 12th, I apologize. And Tony Kurgel has pulled away to a rather comfortable lead for the time being. Just over a second separating him from Adam DeFore. But further in the back for 12th, Bittler and Rodriguez still going at it as they've caught the back end of Jason Crumley. Bittler running all the way on the bottom, Crumley running the middle, and Rodriguez trying to find a comfortable place to go as we see Crumley scraping the wall. That's going to lose him a lot of time. As Brian Wiggins starting to claw his way back through the field. He gets around Ricky Kim in that 49 car. But at this point, he's already 4 seconds behind our leader, Tony Kurgel. But right behind them, James Young and Lucas Crump side by side. Young with a little bit of a toe in front of him, but Crump gonna try to take the shorter way around the corner here. On the inside, can he make it stick with the run that Young might be getting? Especially if Young hits the outside wall, he'll make it work. So Lucas Crump up into 9th place right now, and gonna try to get to work on Ricky Kim right in front of him. Ray Partridge has caught his boss, Mark Sikochi, and trying to find a way around that 8 car. No opportunities forming for him just yet, as we see Brian Wiggins starting to pull away from Ricky Kim in that 49. So maybe you just need a little bit of time to get the car under him at the start. But Wiggins doing a great job running that outside line here. Maybe he has a car set up for that outside line, because he is getting a heck of a run compared to Justin Cope running all the way near the wall. But mostly single file racing here at Auto Club as we approach 10 laps completed. And Tony Kurgel has already extended his lead out to a very impressive 1.4 seconds here, running about a 1/10.5 faster per lap than Adam DeFore in second. But Nicholas Pressey starting to put on the pressure to the back end of DeFore. So Pressey still a little bit slower in terms of last lap pace than Kurgel, but definitely faster at the moment than Nicholas Pressey, or than than Adam DeFore, I apologize. As we look at Brian Wiggins get around that number 59 of Justin Cope. Cope going to try the bottom lane and pull alongside the 15, but that run that Wiggins is getting on the outside, it is just way too strong for Cope to do anything about. So now Wiggins has moved back into 6th place after his pretty poor start here. I tell you what, Wiggins is actually running times equal to our leader, Tony Kurgel. Last time by for Kurgel was a 40.512. Last time by for Wiggins was a 40.534. But for 2nd place, Pressey looks to the inside of Adam DeFore. DeFore going to try to use the run off the high side to hold off that number 94. Going to get clear of Pressey for the time being. But Pressey is not one to just give up and roll over that easily. He's going to try again here in turn 1. To the inside goes the 94. Maybe we'll try to see him slide up on exit, but it doesn't look like it. He might have clipped the apron just a smidge and took it out a little bit of momentum. And we see DeFore get the big run off the high side and able to clear Pressey once again. So the high side really showing how powerful it can be. As well, both Pressey and DeFore got loose at the same time and saved it at the same time. So they might be burning their rears up as the run goes on. These cars might only get looser. But to the inside goes Pressey. DeFore making a charge on the outside. DeFore is going to have the advantage coming down the back straight. Cars behind him looks like they're trying to work together to catch the cars in front. And this is exactly what Tony Kurgel wants to see right now. He wants to see the fast guys behind him duking it out, burning up their tires and slowing each other up, and actually seeing them close in. But now Wiggins looking to the inside of Mark Sikochi. So Wiggins actually going to make the move stick by the center of the corner, really sliding up near that wall. And Sikochi with the crossover down the back straightaway on Wiggins. He's not going to get clear just yet. And Wiggins is so good on that top side. Will Sikochi be able to make the move stick? I don't think so, because Wiggins already hard on the throttle through the center. And he's going to get a great drive on corner exit, as we see Justin Cope thinking about making a move to the inside of Ray Partridge. Not able to get it done just yet. So move Brian Wiggins up into the 4th position, and he's going to start to try and hawk down Pressey and DeFore. But while that was going on, Nicholas Pressey has gone around Adam DeFore. Will DeFore try to make a move to the inside of Pressey? Looks like not yet. Pressey gonna run that high side, give a lot of dirty air to Adam DeFore. Running that high side. But the gap between Kurgel and Pressey, we're only 15 laps in, has already extended to 3 seconds. But looking back on Brian Wiggins, he just ran a lap that was faster than the leader. Tony Kurgel setting a 40.809 and Wiggins setting a 40.784. So that number 15 Napper Chevrolet is hauling right now. Of course, we'll have to see how his car holds up later on in the run, but definitely someone to look out for, especially if we get a caution he doesn't mess up the next restart. Definitely someone to be on the lookout for, because he's running ever slightly faster than the leaders, but even that is a tenth and a half faster than Nicholas Pressey and Adam DeFore right now. Further in the back, James Young making a move on Ricky Kim for 8th place. Kim gonna try to use the suction that he gets down the back stretch to pull close to Young. Not gonna be able to get it done. Further up, or actually just a couple positions up, Justin Cope and Ray Partridge side by side. We see Partridge getting a little bit sideways as the lights just turned on, I believe, here at Auto Club. So Cope gonna have a nose ahead going into turn 1. He might be able to get a slider worked up here on Partridge. Partridge gonna try to duck it down low. Cope running that middle line. Oh, big slide from Cope. He locks down. Caution comes out. And I tell you what, Cope's very lucky that the caution came out for that, because he was going to be very out of luck if that remained green. But no need to replay that since it happened right in front of our eyes. But no damage to that 59 car besides maybe a little bit of a bruised ego. But he's definitely going to have to go for a new set of tires after essentially superheating them by sliding so much. So Tony Kurgel, probably the least happiest to see a caution come out, since that 3.5 second gap that he worked hard to get now up in smoke, quite literally, considering that the 59 spun out, but it's up in smoke, and he's gonna have to rebuild it from scratch if he assuming that he wins the race off of pit road. I would assume that everyone would come down pit road for at least fuel. And since tires are very important here at Auto Club, tires as well. So, looks like the lucky dog will be Chris Norris in the 56. Because he is the only car on track that is lapped down. Lucas Crump pulled it into pit lane and has not come back out. Yeah, Chris Norris stays out. Adam DeFore and Angel Rodriguez stay out as well. So that's a very interesting strategy from the 5 and 18. Can only wonder what their plan is. So let's see the stop for Kurgel. Yep, you can see the right side's going up. The left side's going up for Kurgel as well. Pressey might beat him off of pit road here. Yeah, Pressey had a much better entrance. I don't know who won the race off of pit road. I think it was Pressey. Yeah, Pressey's gonna get by. So Pressey leapfrogs Tony Kurgel on pit road by just a hair. But I mean, both of them are still gonna be stuck behind Adam DeFore and Angel Rodriguez, who are on 20 lap old tires. These guys are on completely fresh rubbers here. So this is certainly going to be a very interesting restart when everyone gets all bunched up. But Adam DeFore is no stranger to risky pit calls. It certainly paid off in his favor at Phoenix when he made a risky pit call to stay out at Phoenix, and that ended up giving him the win there. But that was with only a few laps to go. There's still over 100 laps left in this race. So yes, Chris Norris was the recipient of the wave around. So he has gotten one of his 5 laps back. So he's now 4 laps down. The only car lapped in the field so far. So 12 out of 13 still running cars are on the lead lap here at Auto Club. 20 laps in. Which, I mean, if you went a lap down, you didn't have damage. You didn't have any like issues like starting the race. Be quite worried if you're making minimum speed, because Auto Club's a very long track. To get completely lapped in 20 laps, but I'm pretty sure Chris Norris had some sort of technical issue that prevented him from starting this race, and unfortunately, he goes a couple laps down. Gonna need Lady Luck on his side a lot here if he wants to get back on the lead lap. But it's gonna be Adam DeFore leading this field to the first restart of tonight on lap 21. Coming to lap 22, he's got Angel Rodriguez on similar tires right behind him. Pace car is in. And green flag is out here for the first restart at Auto Club. A little bit of a stack, a little bit of an according effect, as we saw Kim in the back dive down a little bit to not hit Bittler in front of him. But you can see Pressey already trying to make a move on Andrew Rodriguez. Kurgel in a hot pursuit of Pressey, and DeFore running all the way up top, wanting none of the business that the cars on new tires have. So cars trying to navigate Angel Rodriguez, but Kurgel and Pressey have already gotten past him, and now Kurgel looking to the inside of Pressey as they both navigate. DeFore might be trying to use DeFore as a pick right here. Kurgel is, but Kurgel gonna have the advantage as they cross the stripe, and he might box Pressey into a very unfavorable situation right here. DeFore going all the way up to the wall as high as he can go. Kurgel running all the way on the bottom. This gives Pressey a lot of room to maneuver as DeFore scrapes the wall just a smidge. And whoa, we see Ricky Kim throwing it way down low to get around John Bittler in the 88. But both cars locked about dead even. Oh, a little bit of contact between Bittler and Kim. Bittler keeps it off the wall. Kim keeps it straight. Great control by both of these drivers. But all they're doing is just slowing each other up from Wiggins and DeFore in front. And Partridge going to try to follow Bittler around Kim. But Partridge going to try all the way near the wall as they almost made contact again. 3 wide for 5th place here. And Partridge is going to almost get around him, but he scrapes the wall, loses all that positive momentum that he got. So Bittler is going to be leading this tiny group of cars. As, oh, we have a car going around. I believe that's Mark Sakochi. Oh, big hit into the outside wall. That's Angel Rodriguez, Sakochi. I believe I saw James Young in it as well. But, oh, that's a destroyed number 18 car. And that might be the end of Rodriguez's race. But let's get a replay to see what happened, because I only saw, heard it happening because of the sound of tire squealing. So let's get a replay real quick going up on what exactly happened between Mark Sakochi and Angel Rodriguez. Okay, currently looking at Mark Sakochi right now. Got Andrew Rodriguez going to his inside. And, ooh, that's hard to tell. I think Sakochi came down and was expecting Rodriguez to go a little bit lower. And then you can see Young already hard on the brakes. And that car just plows straight like a featherless dart. And he's trying to avoid it by going high and just doesn't expect Sakochi to slide up. But yeah, I don't think Sakochi was expecting Rodriguez to run the middle, and came down on the 18 car, and that got both of them hard into the outside. Well, definitely Rodriguez getting the worst of it, as he might have to pull that car behind the wall here. Yeah, that car missing its rear end. It might have some suspension damage too. Let's see if we can get one more look at it. Before the green flag comes out. Yeah, I just don't think Sakochi thought that Rodriguez uh was going to be as high up as he was, and it just came down across his nose. But Tony Kurgel back in the lead of this race. And something that spells bad news for is Chris Norris, who now might have to contend with another car lapped down. But he does get one of his 4 laps back, as he is now 3 laps down getting the wave around. So he needs 3 more cautions where he's the only car lapped to get back on the lead lap. Has something happening between Wiggins and Pressey. But they're able to get that resolved. But once again, it's going to be Tony Kurgel. Or actually, I shouldn't say once again. For the first time this race, it's going to be Tony Kurgel leading the field to the green flag here for restart number 2 of the race, after an incident with Mark Sakochi and Angel Rodriguez. As it looks like Sakochi still has a fair amount of damage on the front end of that car as he's trying to catch up to the leaders. So Sakochi would like a quick couple of cautions to get the rest of that damage fixed so he can be back in contention. But pace car lights are off. We're going to be going green flag racing this time by. And it's going to be the 13 of Tony Kurgel leading this field of cars to the second restart of the race. Got Pressey right behind him. Pace car is in. Green flag is out. Kurgel getting a good start. A little bit of a stack up as Ricky Kim flying on the inside. Probably going to get a black flag for passing on the inside before the start finish line. That is something don't believe you can do. He's still showing up as black flag, so it hasn't been cleared just yet. Currently fighting with Brian Wiggins right now. But one would imagine that Ricky Kim has to dive into pit lane. Well, he's still out there as Wiggins moves to his inside. But at some point in the next 2 laps or so, Kim does have to bring that car down pit road for what I believe is a passing on the inside before the start finish line violation. But all things considered, Kim had a great restart if you don't take into account the passing everyone on the inside. But yeah, Kim pulling it into pit lane to serve his penalty. And that definitely, that restart definitely allowed Kurgel to get a very healthy lead as he just hit the fastest lap of the race thus far, a 39.962 for Kurgel as he's about 0.8 ahead of Nicholas Pressey. John Bittler doing battle with Adam DeFore for the 4th place. Bittler having a very strong run early on here at Auto Club on lap number 30. Going to try to get the move made in 3, but I think DeFore is going to get the power down on the outside and pull up alongside it to make clearing him not possible just yet. But Bittler still looking to the inside of DeFore. DeFore running all the way up top. You can see Ray Partridge including himself in this mix here as he's going from top to bottom to middle. And DeFore scrapes the wall. That's going to kill his momentum. He's going to get passed by Crumley. So Bittler up into the 4th position. Great run so far from the driver of that 88 Mountain Dew Chevy. But Nicholas Pressey kind of by himself on an island. He's about a second behind Tony Kurgel and about a second ahead of Wiggins. Here in the back for 7th, Justin Cope and Adam DeFore duking it out for 7th. Cope going to be able to clear DeFore through the center of the corner. But DeFore definitely going to try to use the run that he gets off the corner, coupled with the draft that he gets from Cope, to mount a charge. But nothing forming for that 5 car just yet. So maybe he needs to make another adjustment. As, something happened with Mark Sikochi in the 8 car. That car is, well, first off, it doesn't have a front end, and it's creating a lot of sparks. The left front suspension is destroyed on that 8 car. He's really got to keep it down on the apron. Let's see if we can get a replay of that. I typically don't do it during green flags, but I think we'll have a pretty long run here. Looking at Sikochi, yeah, just gets loose, and you wonder if the damage that he received played a part of it, and just a tough place to hit. To hit the inside wall, and that's gonna put him multiple laps down. So that might prematurely end Mark Sikochi's race here at Auto Club, because I would like to believe that's at least 8 minutes of damage that he has to take, and with laps that are averaging about 40 seconds, that's about 10, 12 laps that he's gonna have to give up, assuming this continues green, which is very trending towards. But John Bittler has fallen back to the 5th position while we were looking at the replay. Ray Partridge has gone around him, and now Crumley looking to use that outside against Bittler. Bittler giving a very gracious amount of room to Crumley, who's making a hard charge on the outside here. But maybe Bittler's trying to play the long game, let the people who are running higher up put more strain on their tires compared to him. So Crumley going to get around Bittler. So Jason Crumley, a solid run from him so far, up in the top 5. But yeah, this race has really spread out. Closest battle right now is Crumley and Bittler, as Bittler is about 2/10 behind Crumley. But Tony Kurgel has been the car to beat thus far in the race. Definitely going to be interesting to see how his pace holds up as the tires wear, because we saw that at the first start, from about lap 1 to lap 20, Brian Wiggins was putting in some good time to catch Kurgel. But here for second, we were just talking about him, Wiggins making a move on Pressey, trying to use that high side. They got Ricky Kim, the lapped car, in front of him. Whoa, what is Ricky Kim doing? Oh, goodness gracious. He just turned dead left in front of Wiggins and... oh my, Wiggins and Pressey. Oh, that has no place here on iRacing or in racing as a whole. Ricky Kim just turned dead right into 2nd and 3rd place, presumably because he was upset about not having his black flag for passing before the start-finish line cleared, but that has no place here on iRacing, and that is just a shameful act that we just saw, and it took out 2 very good race cars, because Pressey stopped on track and Wiggins is three-wheeling that car back into pit lane. Let's get a replay going to see what happened, because I was shocked. And yeah, we receiving confirmation that the 46 or the 49, I apologize, of Ricky Kim has been shown the door, at least for this session. And judging by how egregious that action was, hopefully for the rest of time, let's get an onboard shot with Ricky Kim from the cockpit cam, because I mean, so this is in slow-mo with Ricky Kim coming out of the corner, and look at the line, the orange piece of tape that determines that shows the steering angle, and going in a straight line, he just hooks the car left, knowing that there are people on his outside. Wow, that is just unbelievable that someone would do something like that, especially as a lapped car. Wow, I honestly have no words for that. As a racer myself, that is the last thing you like to see, someone who can't control their own temper for their own mistakes. But we'll get one more look at it from the TV cam. And yeah, he just turns dead right into Pressey and Wiggins. And tries to take out Crumley too. So yeah, that is a real shame that we had to witness that. But 39 laps out of 125 in the book. It looks like Jason Crumley and John Bittler have stayed out this time by, and they're going to be on older tires in front of Tony Kurgel, who, I mean, now that, I hate to say this, now that a real goober has taken out the other two fastest cars, Kurgel is going to be even more in control of this race. So I can't express my disdain for that move without sounding like a broken record. That is shameful that that you had to witness that, and it does not at all reflect the very high standard of driving that NSR and the racing that it puts on. But right now we only have 6 cars on the lead lap here. It's Jason Crumley, John Bittler, Tony Kurgel, Justin Cope, Ray Partridge, and Adam DeFore all on the lead lap. And everyone else is out of the race or lapped. The only car on the track that's not on the lead lap that is not severely damaged is the number 56 of Chris Norris, who got one of his laps back. So he's now only 2 laps down. But Jason Crumley going to lead the field to the third restart of tonight's event on lap number 40. Green flag is out as Crumley and Bittler lead this shortened field to the green flag. Kurgel already making a move on Bittler, as Bittler's on 21 lap old tires, Kurgel on completely fresh tires. But Crumley got a great start compared to Bittler. But it's not going to mean too much when Tony Kurgel is going to come flying through the corners. As Adam DeFore looking to make a move on Ray Partridge for the 4th spot between cars 1 and 5. Partridge is going to have the drive off the corner. But for the lead, Tony Kurgel has already pulled up alongside Jason Crumley, just showing the difference between tire wear. Crumley on 16-lap old tires, Kurgel just on 3-lap old tires, and Kurgel gonna make the move stick without too much of a problem. But Crumley still hanging on to the back end of Kurgel. Kurgel just able to send it into the corner so deep. And Crumley going to try to hang on with Kurgel. But he'd be better off just trying to save his stuff as he scrapes the wall a little bit. And try and maintain a good position. Because, I mean, when you only got 6 cars on the lead lap, how hard can it be to stay in the top 5? But yeah, Wiggins and Pressey still in pit lane. So definitely terminal damage on both of their cars. Or not terminal, but damage enough to take them out of any contention for the win. Because Pressey's 6 laps down, Wiggins is 4 laps down. And Partridge making a move on the inside of John Bittler for 3rd here. As Bittler's doing, I'd say Bittler's doing a pretty decent job of holding his own on 24-lap old tires. Sure would have probably been the better option to pit. But either way, he's not dropping as quickly as I thought he would. But now Ray Partridge has gone around Crumley. And DeFore now has pulled to the quarter panel of Crumley and going to sneak past him. Bittler might be able to follow DeFore through past Crumley for the 4th spot if he's able to get close enough. Bittler not able to get to the inside of Crumley just yet. I tell you what, he's doing a good job of running that inside as we see Crumley get a little bit loose on exit, right? And they're both in front of Justin Cope, who's probably just looking to run this race out. But Bittler running that second lane and Crumley searching all over the track for grip. Bittler's really impressed me these past couple races. I mean, he doesn't get involved in an accident. He's been very clean. And this is an example of him making a move to the inside of Jason Crumley. Here comes John Bittler for the 4th position. Gonna make the move stick and pretty flawlessly too. Didn't get loose or anything. But Tony Kurgel only about half a second ahead of Ray Partridge. So Partridge might be looking to close the gap between him and the 13, or maybe Kurgel is just really saving tires here. I tell you what, that 13 O'Reilly car looking sharp as Crumley and Cope battling for 5th. Cope going to get around Crumley. I think Crumley has scorched the rear tires on that 28 car from running up top so much. So that car is just getting really loose on exit. But I tell you what, Partridge is really closing in on Kurgel. I don't know if Kurgel's backing off a little bit to maybe save some fuel or save some tires, but last time by, Partridge was a 1/10.5 faster than Kurgel. And Adam DeFore is not far behind either. He's only about half a second behind Partridge as Partridge continues to close the gap between him and Kurgel. So Partridge in the one looking to use that momentum from the high side to pull up a lot closer to Kurgel, but not able to get the run that he was looking for just yet, as he's only able to close in about half a tenth that time by. But Partridge looks really good at running that second line, not running the wall or anything, just running one lane above the bottom where Kurgel's really residing. And that's able to get him the kind of the best of both worlds, really. He's getting a better drive on exit than Kurgel is, and he's still taking a pretty short way around the track, all while maintaining clean air, which is very important here in these Gen 4 cars, as Kurgel to the outside and Partridge looking to the inside. Partridge not able to get to stick his nose in just yet. Partridge looking very threatening for the lead, and he's going to get to the outside of Kurgel right here, side by side for the lead. Down the back straightaway, Partridge is going to have the better drive off, so Partridge, for the moment, taking the lead from Tony Kurgel. Kurgel going to try to bring that one car back and have him run a higher line, but Kurgel running all the way on the bottom, not able to get anything just yet. And Partridge going to nose ahead here at the line. Kurgel still on his inside, but finally has to slide in behind Partridge. Might try to take some notes from what that one car is doing to be so darn quick. But it's a three-horse race for the lead right now. Adam DeFore looking to pounce if things go sideways for our two leaders. But 51 coming to 52 laps in the book here at Auto Club. And now Tony Kurgel sliding back a little bit as Adam DeFore gonna poke to his outside. So we might see Kurgel slide back into third place as he's not able to clear DeFore out of turn 2 just yet. And down the back straightaway, DeFore is going to clear him. Entering turn 3, Kurgel trying to get DeFore to run a little bit higher up so he can maximize that bottom line, but it's just not working for him right now. So Ray Partridge able to pull out to about a 4/10 of a second lead over Adam DeFore right now. As update on Brian Wiggins and Nicholas Pressey, they're still in pit lane. Pit stops have gone almost to the 12-minute range. So they're getting extensive repairs done on those cars, hoping to just close out this race. As Kurgel was looking to set something up on DeFore, but didn't materialize for him. I think Kurgel would probably be a lot better off working with DeFore to try to catch Partridge, because if he tries to battle DeFore, all he's going to be doing is burning his stuff up and running slower than Partridge. So if he tries to work with DeFore and catching that one car, he might be looking on the rosy side of things by the end of this. But of course, with so little cars on the track now, we might see some green flag pit stops coming up, and I'd say about 20-25 laps. As Crumley was looking to the back end of Bittler. Both these drivers on older tires. Oh, a little bit of contact made between Crumley and Bittler. I don't think Crumley was expecting Bittler to slow up that much, and Bittler just got tight. But side by side for 5th place right now. Bittler going to have the drive off the corner. As Bittler's getting really tight. As he had to dive it into pit lane. I don't think Crumley knew. Great awareness by Crumley to not hit the back end of Bittler and send him around for an unnecessary caution. But he definitely lost a good bit of time to Justin Cope in front, who is now really on an island of his own. He's about 4 seconds behind Tony Kurgel and about 3 seconds ahead of Jason Crumley. And Kurgel now running the high side as opposed to what he was running earlier when he was essentially painting that bottom white line. Let's see what time that he sets across the stripe. He was just a little bit slower than DeFore, but DeFore was actually gaining time on Ray Partridge right there as they both run the high side. Maybe DeFore giving Kurgel a little bit of dirty air, tightening that car up when they both run the high side like that. It's still very much a 3-horse race for the lead right now, as Partridge is only about 0.8 of a second ahead of Kurgel. But I believe we just saw Nicholas Pressey retire from this race. So very unfortunate for both him and Wiggins. It's still showing that Wiggins is in pit lane, as DeFore throwing a block on Kurgel down the back straightaway. Makes me wonder if Kurgel was saving his tires a little bit at the beginning of the run, allowing Partridge and DeFore to catch up in hopes that they burnt their stuff up doing so. But either way, he's hasn't been able to get around DeFore ever since getting passed by that 5 car. And he's just held station about 0.8 behind Partridge. But Kurgel trying his best to hang with DeFore and Partridge as we get to lap number 60 here out of 125. As I'm quite surprised that we haven't seen any driver discussion just yet of the incident with Ricky Kim, Wiggins, and Nicholas Pressey. We'll probably see it after the race. But yeah, that was certainly a move that did not please anyone. But now the lead 3 have split apart just a little bit. Now to about half a second between first and second and third. But Kurgel getting a big run down the back straightaway, just closed in by about 0.1 down the back straight. As it looks like Brian Wiggins has also retired as well. So very unfortunate that both those drivers had to retire, because they were looking very fast during the race, and if luck went their way, could have been contenders for the win here. But John Bittler has gone 1 lap down since he is off cycle pitting. But a good illustration on just the tire difference. He's running a 40.541 on 5-lap old tires, and the leaders are setting 41 ones. So just by being on 18-lap fresher tires, he is running a 1.5 seconds faster than the leaders. Just goes to show how important tires are here at Auto Club. It seems like everyone has really migrated to the high side, or everyone really being the top 3 cars that are remaining in this race. But yeah, now Partridge is really starting to pull away from DeFore, gap widening to half a second plus. As yeah, he pulled out about a tenth on both Kurgel and DeFore last time by. So they have definitely found some long run speed in that one car. And maybe it's just a car that handles really well in clean air, because because we saw Kurgel get in dirty air ever since Partridge got past him, and he just has not been able to get anything going. But Kurgel definitely the fastest on the short run, so I would not be surprised if he pits first to first out of these three people to try and maybe leapfrog the other two. As Jason Crumley dives into pit lane, those 38 lap old tires finally screaming out for help, and he's going to get a new set of Goodyears on that 28 car. So the first car to pit during, or actually the second car if you count John Bittler, the first car on the lead lap, I should say, to pit. But no one else besides Crumley and Bittler have pit just yet. As DeFore running a lane lower than about a lane lower than Partridge, and yeah, he just lost about a tenth down the back straightaway. So maybe just going as high up as possible is going to be the move here once the tires wear in. As everyone is more or less running the same line here. Kurgel slowly starting to encroach on the gap that Adam DeFore has built up on him. DeFore had about a 4/10 of a second lead. Now that is quickly eroding to less than 2/10 of a second down the back straightaway here, as Kurgel really starting to put pressure on DeFore in the 5 car. Oh, but Kurgel scrapes the wall a little bit, maybe a little bit dirty air in play right there. And yeah, Kurgel following DeFore all over the track to try and get as much of a tow as he can from that 5 car. As let me change the laps to go here. 58 laps to go here at Auto Club. And Partridge has pulled out to over a second gap over Adam DeFore. Kurgel really starting to apply the heat to DeFore right now. But let's see what time that he set this time by. A 2:47, so they're still about a tenth slower than Ray Partridge. But currently only 4 cars on the lead lap right now. First car 1 lap down is John Bittler in the 88 car, as Kurgel getting a big run down the back straightaway. Still not able to make anything happen on that 5 car. DeFore is remaining stout in keeping Kurgel behind him. But Partridge slowly slipping away from reach from both Kurgel and DeFore. Gap now 1.2 seconds between first and second here. But I think that this race will probably be won or lost on pit road, depending on the pit strategy and execution of it as well, because I think that at least in this case, pitting earlier is definitely going to be the move, because it's not like Darlington where 1 lap difference in tires really means 1 to 2 lap difference in tires really means a lot. Here there's a noticeable difference, but it's less pronounced, because we saw at the start of this run, cars on 20 lap old tires still hanging with these people, but eventually falling off and out of the draft. But a difference in only a couple laps in tires is not going to be too much of a factor. So I think if I was Kurgel, I would try to pit as early as possible and then run hard to make up the time that the people in front of you lose from staying out, and try to hold on. Because Ray Partridge in the 1 car has really started to stretch that car's legs. And let's see the time across the stripe on lap 73 out of 125. 41.149. 4/10 of a second faster than Kurgel and 3/10 of a second faster than DeFore. So I think that Partridge has done a great job of saving his stuff, and now it's starting to pay dividends. Of course, DeFore and Kurgel, I'm betting that they want to stretch it out to only have to pit 1 more time here. But at what point are they losing too much time to Ray Partridge to where maybe a short pit or an alternate strategy might play out in their favor? But with only 3 cars on the lead lap here, you really can't go wrong with trying something different, especially in terms of points. But something that we just saw, Justin Cope came out of pit lane, so he was the first of the lead lap cars to come into pit lane. So let's see what time that he sets this time by compared to the leaders, just to get a snapshot. Oh, but as I was saying, that the leaders dive into pit lane, and all 3 of them come in at the same time. So it all comes down to pit execution here. Who jumps who in pit lane? Kurgel was very fast on the short run, so he might be able to get around to 4. But does he have the real estate? We saw Partridge reverse into his pit box, so he definitely overshot his pit stall just a little bit, and that's going to close DeFore up to him a little bit. So maybe a costly error on the part of Partridge, as Kurgel gets a better stop than DeFore. And let's see the gap between Partridge and Kurgel as they come out. It's about 7/10 of a second between Kurgel and Partridge. So Partridge lost a lot of time, about 1.1 seconds, just by overshooting his pit stall by just a little bit. Adam DeFore was really the big loser out of all of that. Went from 1.8 seconds behind Partridge to about 3.8 seconds. So big miscue on pit lane for that 5 car. Hopefully he can regain that. But now Partridge is going to have a very hungry Tony Kurgel right behind him, who, like I've said, is rapid on the short runs. But they have to get around Cope and Bittler. And speaking of which, Justin Cope has taken the lead through pitting early, and that's what I was talking about. You can gain so much time by pitting early and everyone else running more laps. And let's see the lap times as they cross the stripe. Yeah, 1/10 faster last time by for Partridge over Cope. It's not as drastic as it is at a track like Darlington, But the difference is still there. A difference of 4 laps, equaling about 1/10 between the lap-to-lap times of Partridge and Cope. And Partridge is really going to try to be hauling that one car to get in range of Cope. The gap has shrunk to about 1.5 seconds. With 48 laps to go, Cope has really put himself in a good position here for quite possibly a podium if he can stretch the fuel to the end. But Kurgel only about 3/10 behind Partridge right now, so not giving Partridge any room to breathe. But yeah, last time by Partridge and Kurgel definitely going all out here. Kurgel just set the fastest lap of the race, a 39.843, while Partridge set a 39.9. Cope set a 40.3. So maybe he's trying to conserve his stuff just a little bit on those fresh tires, but he's got 2 very hungry cars right behind him and closing quick. Kurgel looking to the inside of Partridge for a second. He's going to have the drive on exit. He's going to get alongside that one car side by side between Kurgel and Partridge for second place. And when they catch Cope, this is pretty much the battle for the lead, because they're definitely going to pass Cope sometime soon with 46 laps to go. And Kurgel trying to wrap that bottom. Partridge going to try to get everything that he can up top. About locked dead even down the back straight here, as Cope trying to, to me it looked like he was trying to manage the airflow a little bit between Kurgel and Partridge. But Kurgel has that car hooked up on the bottom. Looks like he's clear of Partridge right now, and yes, he is. So move Tony Kurgel back into second place with a great pit stop and some great short run speed. But how will that compare to the long run? We saw Partridge slice his way through the field and pull away over the course of a long run. As Partridge got really sideways on exit. He wants to stay in the draft of Kurgel if at all possible. Because once you break that draft, it is really hard to gain ground if you don't have a tire advantage. And remember that Kurgel, Partridge, and DeFore all pitted on the same lap. But Kurgel has caught up to the back end of Cope. So Cope now having cars on fresher tires right behind him. And now moving to his inside is Tony Kurgel for the lead. Cope not going to fight it too hard as Kurgel sneaks up to the inside of him. This is good for Partridge, as this might allow him to close back in on Kurgel a little bit. As Cope definitely not making it the easiest thing in the world for Kurgel to get past him, but he eventually does. So with 43 laps to go, your leader is once again the 13 of Tony Kurgel. Justin Cope right behind him, hanging on pretty well to that 13 car and sandwiched in between cars with fresher tires. Partridge gonna surely close up on him anytime. But yeah, just to illustrate how much time DeFore lost on pit road, he was about 1.8 seconds behind Partridge entering pit lane, and coming across the stripe, he's about 3.3 seconds behind Partridge. So a lot of time lost for that 5 car on pit lane, and now Kurgel is starting to pull away from Cope and Partridge. So that 13 car seems to be working really well in clean air up front. When he doesn't have another car, in front of him. But Partridge probably wants to get around Justin Cope as soon as possible so he can stay in touch with that number 13 car. But Cope not making it any easy on the 1 car. He's saying that Partridge has to work for that position. Partridge cutting to the bottom, going to try to get alongside the 59, not able to get it done just yet. And Tony Kurgel would love to see the 1 and the 59 battle for a lot of laps to burn their stuff up and slow him down so he can just very quietly pull away. Partridge looking to the inside of Cope, not there just yet. And now he's probably going to pull alongside Cope in turns 1 and 2, running a lane off the bottom. Cope getting a little bit loose up top, side by side, down the back straightaway. The momentum looks like it's going in favor of Partridge. They're about dead even entering turn 3. Cope going to go all the way up top, about 3 lanes up, while Partridge going to try to take the shorter way around here. He looks like he might be able to clear that 59. No, not yet. Cope going to have the drive from that high side and pull alongside Partridge. This is exactly what Kurgel wants to see. This is exactly what Partridge was hoping would not happen. He was hoping that the 59 would sneak in behind him, but it was just not, it's just not happening. Justin Cope is determined to fight for second place, and he's still hanging on to the quarter panel of Partridge. Partridge not able to clear the 59 just yet. And he's just seeing that 13 car get ever so slightly smaller in his windshield. Finally gets around Justin Cope. Cope with a big run up top. Does he try to make a move on Partridge? Doesn't look like it. Looks like he opts to slot in behind that 1 car. And now both of them nose to tail, as they have to work on catching Tony Kurgel, who, while they were battling, pulled out to a 1.8 second gap over Partridge. Partridge running really high up in the corner. Does Cope try to get to his quarter panel? Not able to do it just yet, as, whoa, big loose moment from Partridge. And that's the danger of running up top. You give it so much gas that you'd never know if your car is going to step out right on the exit when you're turning the wheel as hard as possible. Very easy for that to happen. But now that gap between first and second has extended to 2 seconds. So Partridge not able to cling on to any draft from that 13 of Kurgel. And he might have burnt up his tires a little bit trying to battle Cope for so long, because Cope is still hanging right onto the back end of Partridge despite being on 4-lap older tires. So Partridge is probably really hoping for a caution to come out to allow him to pit, but when there are only 7 cars running, you know, that's at a 2-mile track. That is very hard to have granted for you. It's not impossible, but I mean, going through the field, the only 2 cars remotely close to each other are Partridge and Cope. Everyone else is either 2 seconds or further apart. As now Partridge starting to pull away from Justin Cope. Gap now extending to about 0.3 of a second, as Partridge running that high line, still getting pretty loose on exit, but he's able to keep it pretty well corralled. But now Partridge and Kurgel have about equaled each other on lap time. The distance between them quickly change, or the gap in lap times between them changing hands about from half a second in favor of Kershaw to half a second in favor of Partridge. So Partridge either needs Kershaw to make a big mistake and lose a lot of time, or hope that Kershaw really burnt up his stuff compared to Partridge. But the clock is starting to tick for that one car. And it's not going to be any easier with the 59 still breathing down his neck. Cope did a great job on pit strategy by pitting just a couple laps earlier, because he's able to hold on to Partridge, who was just leading a fair chunk of this race, and holding off our current leader just by coming into pit lane a little bit earlier than the leaders. Now, it's unknown whether Cope can make it to the end. I'd assume that he can. And yeah, Partridge is starting to really struggle on exit here. That car is not staying planted at all through the exit of the corners. Now Cope gonna try to sling it to the outside here. Yeah, Cope's to the outside of Partridge. Partridge gonna run all the way on the bottom. Cope's gonna make the move on Partridge. This is probably exactly what Tony Kershaw was hoping for. He's probably smiling from ear to ear right now as he's chasing his first win. Because now Partridge is really on the back foot. He's gonna have to battle Justin Cope again if he can catch up to Cope and burn up his tires more, trying to get around him. But Partridge running the highest line possible. And he just might be losing grip, honestly. We'll have to see what his lap time is compared to Kershaw. But he's lost about 2/10 on Cope through this lap. Let's see, a 41.018 for Partridge, but a 40.7 for Justin Cope. So Cope was really fast that last lap. So definitely going to be interesting to see the gap between Cope and Kershaw this time by, because I don't know if Kershaw might have used up his stuff. Let's see, 40.9 for Kershaw. And a 40.8 for Cope. So Cope is faster than Kershaw, but with 29 laps to go, he has to make up 2.5 seconds on the leader with no mistakes. And that is a very tall order to do in 29 laps, not even knowing if he can make it on fuel. But he's already pulled out to about a 1 second gap over Partridge, so Partridge isn't really a concern for him right now. But yeah, still about a 10th faster last time by for Cope. So if he keeps up at this rate, he might be able to pull up to the back end of Kershaw. That's assuming that Cope doesn't have a massive tire fall off and that Kershaw just isn't saving at all. It's 41 flat for Kershaw. And Cope blinked out across the line, so we're not exactly sure, but I'm pretty sure that was a 40.8 from Cope. And even Partridge is running faster times last time by than Kurgel. Going to 26 laps to go here. Just started lap 100 out of 125. So with 26 laps to go, Kurgel just has to keep running good laps, and he might be able to hold off Cope. But how much tire did Kurgel use to get around Partridge in the short term? And has that come to bite him? As, Justin Cope, diving into pit lane. So Cope was not able to make it. Partridge diving into pit lane as well. So alternate strategy might be playing out here for Partridge, going with Justin Cope. So how will this shake out for Cope and Partridge? And makes me wonder, does Kurgel have enough to make it to the end? As no, it doesn't look like it. Kurgel's diving in a pit lane as well. Let's look at Adam DeFore, who pitted with all of them. Now, DeFore is staying out. So let's see. So Justin Cope back on track, way ahead of Partridge, about four or 5 seconds ahead of Partridge. Cope is. And that's DeFore in front of him. And assuming that he can set a second faster lap time than DeFore, he's still going to be about half a track behind if DeFore doesn't come down pit lane. So maybe DeFore falling back so much might be him fuel saving a little bit. Because Kurgel just re-entering onto the track right now, 34 seconds behind, 34 seconds behind DeFore, and Justin Cope has pretty much held station to Kurgel, gaining about 2/10 on him. So Kurgel had a really good pit stop. But when does Adam DeFore come into pit lane here? If he does, because I don't know if he's saving or not, trying to stretch fuel to the end. But he did pit with Kurgel and Partridge. So it's definitely interesting. I was not expecting another. I was definitely not expecting another pit stop, but that's what happened. I did not check how many laps these cars would go on a full tank of gas. But right now, Justin Cope has stuck to about a 1.5 second gap behind Kurgel. And at a rate of 1.5 seconds between Tony Kurgel and Adam DeFore, with 21 laps to go, they might be able to catch DeFore on the last lap if he stays out here and doesn't make any mistakes. Because those tires are certainly certainly crying out. But looking at Justin Cope, he stayed about 1.5 seconds behind Kurgel. But all eyes are on this 5 car and whether he can make it to the end or not. He's definitely taking it very easy in the corners, running about 10 miles per hour slower than Partridge through the corners. So that might be just enough to save some gas, but isn't enough to make it to the end for Adam DeFore in the 5 car. Scrapes the wall just a little bit. That's not what he needs, because the guys behind him are catching him at a pretty unsustainable rate. Because doing some back of the envelope calculations, as nope, DeFore's coming in a pit lane. So now the race for the lead is going to be between Kurgel and Cope. And we know how good Kurgel is for the first 20 laps of run, and then that car starts to peter out by the end of it. And this is a perfect timing situation for him, as Kurgel gonna quickly approach DeFore, as DeFore just got in his pit box. So new leader is, or not really new leader, but back to the lead is Tony Kurgel. And Adam DeFore looks like he only took 2 tires, because he had about a 10-second pit stop, but he's still going to be about 5 laps behind, or not 5 laps, 5 seconds plus behind Partridge. So now Justin Cope getting pulled away from by Tony Kurgel. Last time by for Cope, a 40.327. And Tony Kurgel running a 40.154. With someone who's having a very solid run and been pretty quiet all race, John Bittler, top 5 run for him in that number 88 Chevy. Hasn't really made any enemies or done anything wrong this race. Has just been in a race of his own. Last car on the lead lap, about 23 seconds behind the leader, but the only car to threaten him is a lap behind him. You see just at the top of the shot, Justin Cope starting to fall off from Tony Kurgel. Going to 15 laps to go here at Auto Club. See what lines these drivers are running. Cope running about a lane off from the bottom. Kurgel was painting that white line like he does on the short runs. So it looks like maybe running the bottom at least as hard as Kurgel was burning up his stuff compared to running a lane off. Because that's what Cope and Partridge were doing, and they were catching Kurgel by about a tenth and a half by the end of the run, but we are only about 10 laps into this race. As Kurgel approaching the lap car of Chris Morris, 4 laps down, but running his own race and not really caused any trouble. Just unfortunately his effort was kind of doomed from the start, because he had to start 4 laps down after what I believe was a technical issue preventing him from gridding. But 13 laps to go for Tony Kurgel. Everyone in the field separated by about 2.5 seconds or more. So why don't we get an onboard shot with the number 13 to see how he takes, how he's taking these corners here at Auto Club. See, that 13 is one stable race car on the bottom of the track, and he's been continually pulling away from the rest of the field. Cope nor Partridge can catch him. Gap has extended from about 1.8 seconds to about 2.7 seconds between first and second, coming to 10 laps to go. Double high five up in the air from Barney the Flagman to signify 10 laps to go in the Sony HD 500 at Auto Club. And Kurgel, when he is out in the lead and in that clean air, he has really shown that he is dominant, but it's been proven that he is not invincible, because we saw Ray Partridge and Justin Cope definitely putting him in check earlier on in the race. But after this last round of pit stops, he has really shown that he is deserving of this first win. And all he has to do is bring it around the track 9 more times. And with a gap of almost 3 seconds to Cope, he really does not have any pressure behind him. As long as he keeps that car straight and doesn't lose the car, he will be homebound. So we only have 7 cars remaining in this race ever since the last caution on, I believe, lap 39. We definitely got to witness the strategy game playing out, and it's definitely played out in Kurgel and Cope's favor, because Cope, with that big undercut, the pit stop before the last one, really brought him back into this race, and he was looking very sharp. If these drivers stayed out for about 5 more laps, he really would have gotten to the back end of Kurgel. But a smart move. By Kurgel to hold him off and to pit just after they pitted, to minimize the laps, the time difference between old and fresh tires. And it certainly paid off in spades for him, because last time by a 40.721 for Kurgel, and he's just starting to slow down just a little bit from tire wear, because Cope now within half a tenth of him. But a half a tenth really isn't anything to worry about when the person behind you is 3+ seconds behind. So 6 laps to go here at Auto Club. And that 13 of Tony Kurgel looking towards his first win in just 10 miles here. 5 laps to go in the Sony HD 500 for the National Sim Racing Gen 4 Cup Series. 10 miles around this track. And Tony Kurgel has plenty of time to get it done, and just a wide open track in front of him. I believe that's Jason Crumley just ahead of him. He might be able to catch Crumley by the last lap, but he will have no reason to push himself. Gap has now stabilized a little bit between Cope and Kurgel at around 3.3 seconds. And that just shows how fast that 13 was on the short run. So last time by, Cope was a little bit faster than Kurgel, but it just doesn't matter. There's not enough time for Cope to catch up without a big mistake from Kurgel. But Kurgel is skilled enough and fast enough to not let that happen to him. Coming to 3 laps to go here. Top 5 at the moment is Tony Kurgel, Justin Cope, Ray Partridge, Adam DeFore, and John Bittler. And funnily enough, those are all the cars on the lead lap. 5 cars on the lead lap and 7 currently running. And this is definitely an endurance race here at Auto Club. 125 laps around this very tough track is nothing to sneer at. But 2 laps to go here at Auto Club, and nothing but well, I would say daylight, but it's nighttime here at Auto Club. Nothing but clean track in front of that 13 car. Looks like Crumley is too far away to be any sort of threat. And all Tony Kurgel wants to do is see that white flag come out, because once the white flag comes out, the world can end and we will still have a race to the checkered flag. So white flag in the air. Tony Kurgel just has 4 more corners to make here at Auto Club with a 3.1 second gap over Justin Cope. He just has to nurse this baby home. And he was dominant in practice. He was very fast in qualifying, starting outside pole. Immediately got the lead on the first lap from Wiggins, and he will cruise to a victory here for his first National Sim Racing victory at Auto Club. Give it up for Tony Kurgel, driver of the number 13 car, taking the win in the Sony HD 500. Very well-deserved win for that 13 car. Give a shout out to Justin Cope with his strategy to come home in second, and John Bittler coming home with what I believe is his first top 5 finish of the season. So with that, let's get your finishing results up on the board. Winning the race is Tony Kurgel, and coming home in second is the 59 of Justin Cope. Ray Partridge comes home a solid 3rd place, and that rounds out your podium. Those would be the people we will be interviewing today. Adam DeFore in 4th for car number 5. Solid run for him. And John Bittler comes home a very impressive 5th place finish for car number 88. Jason Crumley in the 28, first car outside of the top 5, finishes in 6th. And Chris Norris rounds out the remaining cars running to finish this race in 7th. Cars that did not finish this race in order: Brian Wiggins, Nicholas Pressey, Ricky Kim, Mark Sikochi, James Young, Angel Rodriguez, Lucas Crump, and then I believe Dylan Lansdell and Lyle Mitchell did not start the race. So don't go anywhere. Interviews will be in just one moment. Please stand by. Okay, welcome back to the National Sim Racing Sony HD 500. We are getting ready to get interviews underway, and we got our winner, Tony Kurgel, in the waiting room. Let's get him into the booth real quick. We got Tony Kurgel winning his first National Sim Racing race here in the Sony HD 500. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
So you had a very fast car the entire race, but something that I noticed was that it seemed to be very geared towards the short run because you had crazy short run speed, and then near the end of a run, it seemed like it would just start to fall off. So do you think that you had a car that was more geared towards the short run than a long run, or did your competitors just have such better long run pace?
I think I definitely built my car for the long run there. Or not the long run, the short run, I'm sorry. And yeah, I definitely saw there that Justin was catching me towards the end of both those runs there. And but I knew I just had the speed in the car and I just had to keep the tires under it, and I knew I was going to be able to pull it to the win. She was just had so much speed in her today.
So yeah, when you got shuffled back to about third for about a solid 20-25 laps behind I believe Cope and Partridge, were you thinking that maybe it was starting to slide out of reach for you? Or did you just never give up hope?
Honestly, I never gave up hope. On that second stop there, I actually didn't take any tires. So I was still keeping up with those guys, even on older tires than them. I don't know if they took tires or not, but I'm assuming that they did. And yeah, I mean, so with me being able to keep within a second there at the end of that second run, I felt pretty confident in my car after that.
Well, that's something I did not know. I did not know that you did not take tires. So that makes whatever setup you had for that car even more impressive. So before we let you go and celebrate your first win here in NSR, do you have any people or sponsors you'd like to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Mark and Lucas for putting the race on and all them, and it's just been mad fun. Everyone that showed up tonight, you know, had a really fun race with everyone, and I'm really looking forward to next week at Pocono.
All right, short and sweet from our winner, Tony Kurgel, coming home a very dominant first place in car number 13. We hope to see you next week at Pocono.
I will be there, and thank you so much for putting the broadcast on.
Thank you. All right, and let's get our second place driver in the booth. In second place, it's Justin Cope in car number 59 with what I thought was a very strong pit strategy call, pitting a couple laps earlier than the leaders around, I think, like lap 70 or so, really brought you a lot closer to them. So, how you feeling after that race?
Yeah, the pit strategy paid off on that stop. I was trying to duplicate it, but Tony he wasn't falling for it. Man, he was fast, and I'm happy to see him get a win. He deserved it. But aside from the controversies, it was a pretty fun race.
So, yeah, at Auto Club, of course, it's a track where you can run pretty much any line. What was the line that you felt most comfortable in? Because we saw you running anywhere from the bottom to all the way near the wall for speed as the run progressed.
Yeah, it seemed like later in the run I was a little faster up top, but that when we first started, I was so loose and finally got the car tightened up a little bit where I could handle it, and it, it really settled in later in the run. Early on, I didn't have the speed these other guys had. I wished we would have had some a fuel run there at the end, but it is what it is. I mean, it's still come out all right.
Yeah, I'd say it came out pretty well considering that you came home in second place. So before we let you go and ride the good momentum next week into Pocono, do you have any people or sponsors you want to thank before we let you go?
I just appreciate everybody that showed up tonight. I appreciate the broadcast, and hopefully keep it strong through the end of the season.
Well, I hope so too, because the performances you've put up have been very strong. That's Justin Cope, driver the number 59, coming home a very strong second place. We hope to see you next week at Pocono.
All right, have a good one, man.
All right, and coming home, the final podium position, it's the one of Ray Partridge. Let's get him into the booth. Coming home in third, it's Ray Partridge in car number 1. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
So I'd say in the last third of the race, you seem to have a much better long run car compared to Kurgel, to the point where you actually got around him and was pulling away from him. So do you think that your car was a lot more geared towards the long run than the short run?
Yeah, for sure. But I think that run that I got out in front of him, I think I had fresh tires. He pitted, but he just took fuel only. I don't think he took tires on that run.
Yeah, he told me that he didn't take tires at that time at all, and he was very pleased that he was able to stay within a second. But we saw you move from, about a lane up from the bottom all the way to the top as the run progressed. So were you just a lot more comfortable running up top, or was your car more set up for those runs off the corner?
That run when I was running out front, I it felt really good up top, and I just felt more comfortable. I was able to keep the car underneath me and was able to keep the pace up and get good runs off each corners going down the fronts and the back stretch. So yeah, it was more suited for the top lane probably.
But coming home with third, do you have any people or sponsors you want to thank before we let you ride that good momentum next week into Pocono?
I'd just like to thank Mark and the NSR group for running this league. Really appreciate it. Gen 4s are a lot of fun. Wish we could get more people out here, but we've kind of ran into a little bit of, I don't know, snake bite or something here the last few weeks, but hopefully we get more people in here.
I sure hope so too, but that's Ray Partridge, driver of the 1 car, coming home a very strong third place. We hope to see you next week at Pocono.
Yeah, look forward to it.
All right. With that all said and done, I can get this graphic off the screen and I can change the camera to scenic real quick. And that concludes our broadcast of the Sony HT500 for the National Sim Racing Gen 4 Cup Series. I'm your host, Garrett Hess. You're watching Fireball Talks NASCAR. Big thanks to David at Fireball Talks NASCAR. Big thanks to Andrew Schulte and SKS Graphics for their help with the ticker. I could not do it without those two. And big thank you to you, the viewer, for watching my streams. My name is Garrett Hess. You're watching Fireball Talks NASCAR. Next week will be another National Sim Racing Gen 4 Cup Series race when we go to the Tricky Triangle of Pocono next Saturday. Hope to see you there. Y'all